You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Mob Wives After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Mob Wives After Show.
Bang is for doing, and we're here doing another episode of the Mob Wives After Show, Season 3, Episode 7. And I'm your host, Erika Vieira, and I am joined here by the wonderful and lovely Roxy
Striar. Hello. Okay, my roommate's gonna kill me, but she's on the couch. Jenna Smith joining us tonight, but she doesn't have much to say. Yeah. Just have to introduce her over there.
Thanks, girl. Thanks. And I do have to start the show off just by saying, yeah, welcome to the couch.
Loving it.
In your cute top. I do have to start the show off by saying we did get a little bit of flack for not knowing all the facts. So I'm just going to throw that out there. We are huge fans of the show, Roxy and I, but we are missing a missing link tonight again, and that's KWOW.
Okay, KWOW
and he's a true expert here on the show.
We're going to have Sassy Gabby come back in. She'll be here next week. KWOW will be in here in 2 weeks. Yeah. But it's hard, you know, everybody's busy and working, and this is a show that AFTERBUZZ covered, and we really wanted to stay covering, we jumped on the bandwagon. That being said, I'm now completely obsessed with the show. Yes. So for my lack of previous knowledge, I'll do everything I can to catch up in full.
Yeah, and we're both huge fans. Like, we're huge super fans of the show. I love all the women.
I Facebooked this last night, but Mob Wives and Sons of Anarchy, they're like the same show.
I like that on Facebook. I like it.
And not only did you like it, but Steven commented on it too.
I've never seen Sons of Anarchy.
You said that while I was watching Season 5.
Okay, but I'm not caught up on Sons of Anarchy, so don't tell me.
No, I know. I'm not going to spoil anything, but you said, you posted that right as I finished watching like one of the episodes, and I was like, that is so creepy.
I've never even know anything about Sons of Anarchy.
Except Mob Wives is real.
Is it a reality show about women or no?
Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, well then,
it's got a lot. I was watching and I was thinking it was more like a television series of Grand Theft Auto. That's what it feels like to me.
It's like The Sopranos with like bikers.
It's scripted.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. But anyway, Mob Wives is equally as good, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, very good episode. There was some interesting stuff that happened this episode. So we see the beginning of the episode with Big Ange. Kind of like giving, you know, she's there with like Drita and Carla, and they're all talking about Lee coming back.
Okay, you last week talked about the fact that Lee doesn't want to be seen on camera.
Yeah.
So that's why we have to have this story be retold by Drita, which is so annoying because didn't you want to see Drita's reaction when she opens the door and Lee's standing at the door?
Yeah.
With her 2 kids.
It would have been nice to see it, but I don't blame Lee for not wanting to be on camera just because his wife or ex or whatever chooses to be on a reality show.
I guess so, but I mean, after everything he's done wrong, the worst thing he could do is be on film.
You know, that's something you have to respect. I know in some ways, like, it's interesting. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about myself, but I'm married. My husband would never in a million years, ever
sign on to be in a reality show.
Ever, never. Not even, he wouldn't even do anything like this. Like, he's just such a private person.
But would your husband go to jail for multiple years?
No, but no, he wouldn't. But at the same time,
so dealing with 2 different things.
Yeah, but in some ways, just because someone chooses to put their life out there for the whole world to see doesn't mean that you have to do it.
Okay, but moving on to him, do you think that it would have been something that really, I mean, she didn't seem that pissed off. If I opened the door and my husband was standing with my 2 kids, and last time that not the last time I saw him, but last time he was in my house, I found out he had cheated on me and that I broke up with him, and he's just standing there as if it's his house, he owns the place with our kids, I would have fucking killed him.
And hell to the
Thank you.
Oh, I mean, what I wanted to know in watching this is, they didn't explain the circumstances why he was there. I'm assuming he got off early or whatever, but they didn't give the details on that. It was just like, oh, there he is. So I would have wanted to know kind of the details. And yeah, I agree with Drita. Well, I mean, Drita acted kind of pissed, but at the end of the day, she was like, I'm just glad he's home. Right. And I feel like that's her attitude. Like, she's acting like, oh, he's saying, why is this here? Why is that there? But I think in her heart, or at this moment, I think she's glad he's there. Well,
okay, so just putting this timeline together, because it's always confusing with the reality TV shows. Last week we saw Sandy, and the week before that, Drita went to go visit him at the prison. So Sandy was, what? Fact check. When was Sandy? Earlier in that month, obviously, but then the week before that, she saw him, and this was around Thanksgiving, this episode. Yeah. And she had said when she saw him last, it would be 3 months till she saw him again. So it was obviously a shorter amount of time, probably around a month.
I'd say about a month, month and a half. That's what I would think.
So he got out a little early, and he just showed up, didn't feel like calling, or do you think she made that up for TV?
I don't know. That's a good point.
You know, maybe
it's just a weird thing to make up, though. Like, it's not, I don't know. Maybe she did. I don't know. It just seemed weird.
I feel like
you think she made it up?
Well, kind of, because he's not allowed to be on TV, and she needs to make the story more interesting. Obviously, the most interesting would be if we could see him come in, we see her, the element of shock, and she walks in and she's all surprised and is like, what the fuck, get out? Or she's like, oh my God, I missed you so much, baby, come on in. But we couldn't see that.
But in that ways, okay, if they were to actually air it, I would think that's fake.
Really?
Because that just seems so manufactured for them both to be there like, oh my God. It just would seem fake to me. So
I guess maybe, but I don't know. It took away a lot of the wow factor for me, the fact that we're hearing her retell this story. And she was doing the best she could with animation, and she's explaining, and she's talking with her hands, and she's doing these big gestures. You would have liked to have seen it. Of course I would have liked to have seen it, but if I didn't see it, I mean, I wish I could be a fly on the wall so I could know if it was real, because I find it very hard to believe that she opened the door and he still had a key from jail? Like, or did he knock on the door and the little kids, Giselle comes and gets the door, Daddy?
Well, like it sounds like the two girls were home, which is, that's weird too. It's like
and they were weirded out by him, so they wouldn't have called their mom or anything like that. Like, that kind of surprises me.
I see what you're saying. There seems to be a lot of holes in that story. Right. That aren't adding up. Well, anyways, during that conversation, though, something that I picked up that I liked was that basically, like, Big Ange was almost giving Carla a hard time about not holding on to her guy when he came home from jail, like Drita is trying to do with Lee.
Okay, completely agree. Yeah. I love Big Ange, but in this episode, I thought a lot of her advice was like really far off, especially with that. I mean, your husband cheats on you, and Big Ange is like, you stick by your man. Yeah. That's not exactly work, but at the same time, she's like, yo, I'm going to take what's mine. I'm going to have the kids. I'm going to have all of this. So I just think she doesn't really understand how to give advice. It's
the culture, though. I mean, it's such the culture of being the woman, standing by your man, having that loyalty, being by him no matter what. And I mean, I get the impression here that the men cheat on the women all the time. And it happens. I get that
And the women don't?
I don't know if the women do. I mean, they don't. I don't think so. It seems like the women are very loyal, and these are men, and they can do what they want, and we're here for them. That's the impression I get. The way someone like Big Ange is reacting, even some of the other women have reacted.
But at the same time,
and like how Drita's like, you know, it is what it is. But I mean, I think when it comes to it sucks for the women. Of course, it sucks. Their men's in jail. They're cheating on them. But when a woman has children with a man, you have to think about that too. And I think in this circumstance with Drita, part of it is that let's see how he comes like out of jail. Let's try and play house. We've got the 2 kids. Let's try and make it work. Let's give it a shot. And I think that's what Big Ange was saying. Like, you didn't even, like, to Carla, you didn't even try and give it a shot. And I know, I mean, I know what you're probably gonna say, but like, I know that, like, yeah, it wasn't Carla's fault. Does she really have to sit there and play nice to this guy? No. But they're old-fashioned. And
no,
like,
I completely...
Let's make this family work.
I get what you're saying, and I completely agree. What I'm saying seems hypocritical of Big Ange is the fact that later on in the episode, when she's talking about giving divorce advice, she's saying, you get full custody, you keep the house, you figure it out, you take what's yours. But at the same time, she's saying, stick by your man to one person, and to the next person, she's saying, fight for full custody you know, if you bring everything home, you bring the money home, you get the kids, you get the house, you get whatever you want, fight tooth and nail. So I just feel like she, at some point, is like, you know, take your guy back in, even if he does wrong, but to somebody else, she's saying if he does wrong, throw him the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. It does seem a little, it does seem kind of, not hypocritical, but just seems like inconsistent with her behavior, or inconsistent with what she's saying. And I think in some ways it's two different things, though. Like, I think that with kind of giving the guy a shot, okay, he's back out of jail. Like, let him stay at the home. The girls have never had a chance to be around their father, or for Carla's kids, they haven't really had that chance. So give him a shot. And then try and make it work. If it doesn't work, then keep everything. That's kind of the sense that I got from her. And in some ways it makes sense. I somewhat agree a little bit, I have to say. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say how you'd react in that situation.
So you would definitely give Lee another chance?
I would want to try. I know it'd be hard if he cheats on you, but when you think about the girls, when you think about your girls and you have the kids with this guy, and I would, in some ways, I don't know, maybe I'd want to give it a shot. But but honestly, if you were to screw up once after that, once he's home or goes back to, I'd probably say no.
We see.
But Drita at this point, sorry to interrupt, but Drita at this point, basically, in some ways, it has given him, this is like his third shot, because he already went back into jail. So I don't know. If I was in Drita's case, I don't know.
I think it's Karen that says to Drita, you know, I've seen Lee, and when he loves, he loves hard.
Yeah, Karen did say
and
that.
I think that's important to, it's so sweet, so endearing. These mob wives, it's just like, oh.
I love hard. If you're a bird, I'm a bird.
What the hell's that? If you're a bird, I'm a bird.
It's from The Notebook. Come on, get romantic.
Oh gosh, I feel like I'm not a woman right now if I don't know every quote from The Notebook. But anyway.
That totally went right over my head, sorry.
So it's important to note, because obviously we don't know these characters, especially Lee, because we're not even allowed to see him on film. So, you know, it's important to know, when he loves hard. And we don't know. Were there drugs involved? Why was he cheating on her? What was going on? Was she being faithful to him? We don't know the full story, so I can't really judge. But at the same time, I know if it was me, you know, you don't cheat on somebody you're married to. No. That doesn't happen, and if you do, you're done. Yeah. And if you decide to give it a second chance, maybe you give it a second chance. And if that fails, maybe a second. But this, like you're saying, this is the third time. But is it true? You know, everybody says once a cheater, always a cheater. Are there exceptions to the rule? Is Lee that exception? And she's got to find herself asking these questions. And are you willing to throw away your entire family just because of a rule that is set in place? But are you willing to make yourself miserable if you're proven wrong?
Well, I think
it's hard.
It is hard. It is hard. But I think the bigger question that everyone seems to be asking is not so much about him cheating on her as if he's going to end up going back to jail. That seems to be more of like what people are saying. Let's hope he keeps on the straight and narrow. I think almost 3 or 4 people said that.
And I'm worried about it because last week Drita said, you know what? He's on a lot of people's shit list. And when he gets out, this is going to be tough. And especially, is she going to just tell us the story the whole time? I mean, I don't even know if we're going to even know what's going on.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see for that one. But that's a storyline that I am curious about and I would like to see more.
What was he in jail for? No, we don't know. This is the thing where I do where we're going to ask K-Wow.
I'd say he's doing something illegal, you know, and getting caught.
I'll look it up. What's his name? Full name?
Typically, that is what happens when.
There's the answer to your question.
But what is his full name? Another good question. Valid.
One of the things I do want to mention, like back on that topic with like Lee and with like Lee and Drita, was I thought it was really funny how Ramona was telling the story to Karen. They were like, I forget where they were at, but I feel like Ramona was so dramatic about the whole thing. And like, she's like, you'll never guess. You'll never guess.
This is what Kevin calls dick in the soup. Yeah. When somebody is like, a producer is putting their dick in the soup, saying, listen, go talk about this. Yeah. And I know this because, oh my God, soon I'll be under contract and I won't be able to talk about this. But for now, because I'm working on, everybody knows, this reality type show, whatever, I know that they cannot script you but they can script scenarios and make you script yourself. So what I'm guessing is that a producer probably was like, listen, Ramona, bring up the conversation about Lee and make it come out in this like big way. Karen probably already knew. I mean, there's no way Karen's not dumb. She's not sitting there like, huh, Lee's home, scratch. You know, so.
And even if she didn't, what was funny is that she didn't really seem to give a crap. That's what was funny about that whole scene. It's
but I appreciated that. I appreciated that she was like, you know what? My past with Lee is my past with Lee, and I really hope him and Drita can work things out. At the same time, I don't know how Drita is cool with Karen. That's tough, dude. Like when somebody's hooked up with your husband. I mean, I think it was prior, but
it was a long time ago.
Right, but I think it's hard. You know?
No, Drita got together with Lee after
I know,
Karen.
and so Karen being cool with Drita is tough too. But you know, when you've both fucked the same guy,
well, why would
they're best friends.
Well, supposedly, no, according to Drita, her and Karen were not best friends.
But according to Karen, they were very close. And that's how it works. So it's like, you know, I've never had sex with one of my best friends, people that they've had sex with, whether it was their boyfriend, husband, random one-night stand. I think it'd just be kind of weird.
Yeah, I think it'd be weird too.
Like, imagine being married to somebody that your friend had fucked. Wouldn't that always be on your mind?
Yeah, but it just sounds like I don't know. It sounds from what I heard, from what it sounded from the show, like Karen had a lot of different guys that she dated. It was a small circle. Karen and Drita weren't that close of friends. It had been a while since they were dating, or Karen had even said like, I'm cheating on the guy, whatever. I don't know. I don't think
it'd be like Carla and Raquel being friends 4 years down the line from now if neither of them were with.
Yeah, but she wasn't married to Joe. She was or she wasn't married to Lee. They just kind of casually dated. That was the sense that I got. Are they, or maybe actually no, Karen did say that they were together for a while. Yeah, they were together for a while.
A casual 7 years.
7 years?
Yeah.
I think that's what she claimed.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, and I think that there was something iffy there.
Yeah.
Like Drita said that they weren't really together for that amount of, but it's tough.
But years later, when you have 2 kids with the guy, when the guy obviously married you, Drita, and like you said, fell hard for her, like.
I don't know. I'm just saying personally.
Karen's saying let bygones be bygones and moved on.
And I get that, and I think that's great for television. Yeah. But personally, I don't know if I could be hanging out, getting drinks. I could be definitely civil, but BFF with somebody who's sleeping with my husband.
From what it looks like they are just barely being civil, like just being civil.
You think it's because of the show?
Yeah,
you think if it wasn't because of the show, they just go their separate ways?
Exactly.
And
yeah, for sure.
Contractual reasons or whatever.
They're just being friendly. They're not like super close friends. They're being friendly for the show.
Fair enough, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a higher meaning there.
So speaking of Karen, we got to see a little bit of her romantic side with Storm.
That was okay. First of all,
it was kind of a weird scene.
Karen's now in the music business, and she rented out the studio. That
sounds like she owns it.
She owns it, and Storm's like, "You the boss, you the boss," and she's like, "I like that. I like that. I like you." And then in her direct-to-camera interviews, she's like, "I don't know. Storm was like getting a little flirty with me, and I could see myself." This is the weirdest storyline. I did not see this coming. First of all, you don't casually hook up with somebody that you work with, ends poorly. You either really like them and you date, and then hopefully you evolve, or you don't mess with it. This worries me. And we see next week they're going to go on a date, and she's like, he's so sexy. Is he so sexy?
Maybe.
Really?
Maybe to Karen, maybe his like music is sexy.
She's like, he's so flirty with me.
I didn't get the sense. See, that's what's funny is I didn't get the sense that he was that flirty. And what was funny to me was like Karen was so forward about it, and she's like, and it just was funny. She's like, I'm ready to date, and I'd like to date.
But again,
I want to date, and then like Storm is just sitting there. It's like, well, the dude's not reciprocating.
Okay, this is what
you're so forward, and he's sitting there.
Exactly. This is what I was thinking when I was watching this. And maybe I need to ask, Steven, I'm going to need your opinion on this but after I get what the girls think, do you think it's attractive to a guy when they hear a girl say, I'm lonely? When a girl's like, no, I'm being serious though. When a girl, no, I'm being serious. Because this girl, she's like, oh, I don't really have anybody here, and I'm kind of lonely, and I'm looking to date somebody. Like, does that mean, is that an in for a guy? Is that a notice for a guy to be like, ooh, I'm going in? Or is that like, holy shit, stay away?
It just completely depends.
Oh.
Like, honestly, it's personal preference. If it's somebody that you like already, and then it's kind of like girls would leave that as a hint, kind of.
That's what I'm saying. It felt like she was using it as a hint, but I thought it was like, really
It's a very aggressive hint. It wasn't just like a hint. It was like it wasn't a hint. It was like a come get me. I'm ready. I'm waiting.
It sounds like a booty call. It's like, I'm lonely, come
Kinda
over. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
But what's really funny is that with Karen, it's just like she's a very strong personality and she's very confident and strong. And it's funny because she's playing like this little vulnerable card, like this, like, oh, I'm lonely, oh, da 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 da.
And she kept saying it, and he wasn't like, oh, let's do something about that. She's like, I'm lonely. He's like,
Yeah.
She's like, oh, so I haven't been dating anybody, and I would like to. He's like,
That's cool. Yeah.
oh, okay.
It's like she had said, like, I just got 2 puppies and one of them just got run over by a car.
And again, dick in the soup. I'm sure producers were like, you guys need to go on a date.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
something.
Storm's gonna.
Well, it's also
obviously do that.
attraction. Like, honestly, if there's a girl who you're not attracted to and she like keeps trying to make really bold moves like that, guys are not gonna like it. They're gonna be like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Pat you on the back, send you on your way.
Yeah, and that's kind of the sense that I got in this case. Like, I just like,
It seemed like
unfortunately,
that.
yeah, I would have liked. I mean, I like Karen, so I would have liked him to be like, you know, Karen, I'm lonely too, and let's make, you know,
Through like his grills.
yeah, let's make beautiful music together, Karen. You know, something like that. But I just,
Dude, I want to see artists come and use studio time there. I think that would be great for the show. If they were finding, and even if they were finding local artists who aren't big names yet, and they come in and they're making things, I think they could take Mob Wives in a whole different direction for her character line, and I think it could really open things up, and with music
But it
and
doesn't
VH1
look
and whatever, but I don't think they're going to do
yeah,
that.
they're focusing.
Love and hip hop. They already got it.
And Mob Wives. Love, hip hop, and Mob Wives.
Find everything.
And you're like, whoa.
Lions and tigers and bears.
Yeah, a little too much. Love, hip hop, and now bowling with Renee. Renee is out of rehab.
Yeah.
And
Okay, does she? I don't understand how nobody said this to her. Renee went to rehab and came home and was like, I love rehab. It's amazing there. I'm going to go like twice a year. And everybody's kind of joking around. They're like, we love rehab. Oh my God, it sounds like you had so much fun. And yes, there was an element of joking and kiddingness, but somebody should look at her and say, that's not the point, right? She's like, rehab was great. It was like a blast. I was laying by the pool, and oh my God, we were just bowling and socializing.
Yeah, party.
Yeah. Everyone's like, oh my God, we should all go to rehab. So, I mean, I know they're kidding, but they're not.
There's a movie in that right there. Honestly, I'm thinking like we could write something.
Road trip to rehab?
Yeah, like the weekend at rehab with Bernie's or something.
yeah,
I'm totally down.
Yeah.
But serious, except for the fact that I'm not, because it's weird. Like, one of her friends should look at her and be like, haha, that's so funny. I'm glad that you're sober now, but don't go there again. That's not the point.
Yeah, but then it would make the show too serious, and she just wanted to play light of it. I mean, I see what you're saying, but I think they were just all happy. I think they were just all happy at this moment, and you're right. That needs to get addressed at some point, like a serious conversation of like, okay, you're home, you look great, things are great. I'm so glad you had a great time in rehab. All right, so where you're at? Like,
I'm so glad rehab was such a party for
but you know what I'm saying? Like, this was like that first kind of like, oh my God, yay, you're sober, blah, blah, blah. Like a happy moment. I would like to see later on some serious conversations with Renee. Some serious, like, yeah, I mean, I don't think that's the time and the place right now. Right now,
I agree, but then at least show us AJ, show us something real.
You know,
like,
and that's a good point that you brought up, because I was thinking about that when I was watching it. Like, where's AJ in this? I'm sure they will show him, but they didn't show him his reaction to his mother coming back sober.
It's fine
like,
to be excited and happy, but I needed one real moment of, but this is serious and I'm taking it seriously. It just seemed to be like a joke to her, which made me think going to rehab was a TV ploy. Oh. And I didn't like that. Yeah. You know,
it wasn't
especially
genuine.
because I'm surprised that the rehab place let her bring the cameras into her sessions with her. It just seemed staged to me and weird, and I've been saying that about the show a lot tonight, and maybe I'm way far off. And it still makes for great television, I'll say that, but I actually am starting to care about these women, and I know that she really does have a drug problem, so I hope she takes it seriously. Yeah. And I hope it's not just, what will make a good episode for TV? I'm going to go to rehab. Oh my God, that was a blast. Now I'm home. I hope she really did get the peace of mind she needed, and now she can move forward and be the mother that she wants to be, and be the friend she's capable of being, and have a business, and live her life, and not end up drugged out on the corner.
Yeah, and I have to agree, because last week we saw we saw like a very genuine moment between her and AJ when she was with the therapist and she was crying. I mean, that's when I actually was like, I had some tears. Like,
we both.
Yeah.
We were like,
but like when AJ was saying, you know, like, this is it. Like, don't mess up. Like, you're sober. Like, that's it.
Absolutely.
You know? And so that was a really genuine moment between the two of them. And so, to see this week her take so light of it, it's you hope that genuine moment we saw is still there,
and then it comes back,
and that what I hope doesn't happen is that rehab is like now done. You're great, you're rehab, boom, 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 and now the focus is all on dramas with the girls, other things. I do hope that they continue to say, you know, like Renee says, that there's some lessons learned and that she's done. Like, I would like to see that,
right?
Because you're right. It was more about the fun time she had at rehab and not about really her life and the difference in her life and being changed and how it's going to affect her life in the future. And I do hope that we see that. And it's not just brushed under the rug. Okay, rehab took 3 episodes. Now we're moving on to something else.
Exactly.
Because it's a big deal. This is a big deal. And I think it's a lot of that emotion and feeling that we saw in last episode was real. So I want to see what happens with it. Like you said, we're caring about these women and the characters. So
on a lighter note, as far as bowling goes, I totally understood the pain of these women. I am the worst bowler of all time. I need to put the bumpers up.
I do need bumpers too.
And I still do the granny style also. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying.
Yes, there is.
Is there?
Can you just give me a little support for a hot second here?
Yeah.
Nope.
I'm not a big bowler either. I'm left-handed, and I'm confused as to what my bowling hand is. So I like try different ones, and I don't go bowling enough to really like solidify my strong bowling hand. So it's just like every time I go, it's just a mess.
If we went on a date and I granny style bowled, would you take me on a second date, Steve?
Yeah.
I plead the 5th.
Really? You're that hardcore of a bowler that if you went on a date with a hot chick and she's like, oh, wasn't a great bowler, you're like, no.
Ooh, I'm a hot chick today.
I'm not taking her home to mom. She can't bowl a strike. You know what I mean? Come on.
It was a weird activity to see them doing. Like, usually they go out for drinks and they're like, let's go bowling. I was like, oh, is this what sober fun means? Like, great.
I hate bowling. I actually do what I hate about bowling is I hate bowling alleys. I just hate bowling alleys. They smell.
Okay.
Yeah. So now that I mentioned that, I got that off my chest. Yeah. Let's move on. Okay. So during this episode, we saw a lot more of the interaction between Big Ange and Neil.
Yeah.
Her husband.
So what's going on there? Is he all of a sudden he didn't want to be on TV, but now he's okay with being on TV? And Neil's just they seem to have the strangest relationship. He's very not like her, and she's very aggressive. He goes to get his hair cut, and she's like, you look, why are you growing a beard? This looks weird. Oh my God, you're hot. No, wait, that's weird. And like dissing him and complimenting him and all this stuff. And he just kind of smiles and nods. It's like Big Ange has this massive personality. If you're going to be married to her, you better top that or at least match it. He's just so submissive.
I disagree.
You think it needs to only work if somebody's loud and
and I think
I feel bad for him, kind of. No,
I don't feel bad for him.
Because you love Big Ange so much. I love her too.
No, if he wanted to not be there, he wouldn't be there.
I wrote, Big Ange, what are you rambling about? She had this 2-minute thing at the hair salon. She's like, I couldn't understand a word she was saying. It was the weirdest thing.
Sorry about like the haircut. I think
literally.
I think he's actually I think he's like a good-looking guy.
He is, totally.
He is. He's like a totally good-looking guy, and like I did agree with her where like the gray hair made him look a little bit old, but I think it was like distinguished.
And then he cooks her dinner, and that was really sweet. And she's like, "You're burning down the house." Wait, you do a better her voice than I do.
Oh, well, I can't remember what she said at that moment.
I don't know.
I just love that Neil can just cook, and when you have a husband that can cook, you want him to cook, and you know it's just fantastic having him back in the house. I just decided I'm gonna open the doors. I'm gonna let him back in the house.
Oh my God, I'm getting verklempt. I'm getting so verklempt.
No, that's really what she sounds like, but even more.
I don't have the deep. Yeah, I have like the high, like no. So
I'm going to practice it because I do have that deep smoke.
You have the deep
I got to
voice.
work on it. I'll
That's
get
right.
to the Big Ange voice.
It's like two octaves like lower.
Lower.
And
like
I don't know what you're doing. It's so bad.
That's literally.
That's pretty good.
Wait, was that her? No, that was you. That was really good.
I don't understand this after shows and what the things are going on.
Why?
Water's in the cups. We should have wine.
That's true. And by wine, you mean vodka.
I was going to say
Hands
tequila.
down. Tequila.
And what are the girls trying to talk about Mob Wives? They don't know like a damn thing about us. All right. Okay. So. Oh, and okay. So moving on from Big Ange. Okay.
I hate moving on from her. I love her.
I know I love her too, but there's other people in the show.
That's true. Love them all.
And okay, super awkward scene between Karen and Drita getting a massage, and Drita's side boob. Did you notice her side boob? Her big side boob.
Drita's big side boob?
Yeah.
I just noticed how skinny she looked. She looked so
skinny.
small, and she's laying there, and her arms are so tiny, and about her so little.
I was distracted by the side boob. I didn't even notice the arms, like the boob. Oh, it's big.
Because there's nothing to hide it. She's so small.
So big. I was like, that was so awkward.
It was a really weird thing. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Karen and Drita can't be friends or friendly, but spa day together, and they didn't think it was going to be that, but it's like they're really getting close, and then they go for drinks, and it just.
Well, it sounded like the other women ditched out,
totally.
Who Renee was supposed to go,
and Ramona,
and
they go to Little Italy instead.
They're like, nah.
Okay, is this thing with the grandpa a little weird to you? That it seems strange. So she decides to have. Can I move on to that, or do we have more spa day material?
No, just the spa was just weird.
Just
and
the whole thing was
side
strange.
boob was awkward.
Okay,
yeah.
so we get to we go to the memorial thing and the celebration of the grandfather of Ramona's life, and it's strange to me that no family is there, and it's just. What was it? The 5 women?
It was just the women.
It was just the women, and it just seemed weird. And they talk. They're sitting there, and then they have the. I was about to call him the rabbi because I'm a little Jew girl. They have the priest talking. They are not Jewish. They have the priest talking, and he's like. And what was interesting to me were these women were like, you know what? As much as these men are known as bad people, they are still our family, and they still are important to us. And we love them, and to us, they were good people.
Well, they did, and as
good
Big Ange,
family members.
As Big Ange said, they didn't do anything to us.
Right, and I think that's important to remember. But it was still strange and seemed kind of out of place that it wasn't right after the grandpa died. That a while later they have this.
What was
just
the anniversary?
girls.
She said it was like around Thanksgiving.
It was around the anniversary.
But what I thought was interesting was that her purposes of it was so that her children and her had a happy memory of Thanksgiving.
And then
her
they
kids
didn't
weren't
come.
there. Yeah,
and that was weird,
Yeah.
and it just seemed strange.
Yeah.
And I totally understand. Some people are not that close with their grandparents. Other people are incredibly close. I know what it's like to be really, really close with one of your grandparents. And if he passed away, I get that it could be like a parent passing away. And, and you would want to have a memorial. And a year later, you'd want to talk about it and bring it up or whatever it is, but it just seemed like there should be family there or something. Just having the 4 or 5 of those women, some of them who didn't even know him that well, maybe.
The whole thing seemed weird, and like it's weird to think that they would manufacture that,
right?
Because it's such a personal thing,
right?
That you would think it'd be real, like real.
Although I will say, Renee's speech was very honest and I was not like, oh, somebody wrote this for her. She clearly wrote it. She was kind of awkward reading it, and that made me feel better about the situation.
Well, and it kind of feeds into Renee. It feeds into her whole, like, I don't want to say it's not obsession because it's who she is, but it's like her whole being of like being a mob wife, or not wife, but like being a mob girl, like the daughter of a major mob person. Like that's such a huge part of her identity, and that's so much of who she is, and she holds on to that so much. So this kind of is like her celebrating that in some ways, or like, and she talks about like the history that she has with her. And
her father
her
being
Ramona,
close
and the history, and that they've been together for so long, and it's such the mentality. Like, they're mob guys, they're tough, they're out popping this, doing that, or whatever. But that's my father, that's my grandfather, and I've got the loyalty to them no matter what. Like, there's no judgment on them. It's like, they're my dad, they're my grandfather, that's my uncle, so I love him unconditionally, and I'm just here to support him and be a good daughter.
And I think that's kind of how you have to be, because otherwise it's all resentment.
It is.
You can't be resenting your father, your grandparent, whatever it is, if you want to be able to move on with your life and be a real person.
Is.
So
in some ways, there's something really, I mean, in some ways, there's something really nice or beautiful about that, because it's like, it shows just such a strong family tie. Like in Italy, and the Italians, family is so important, and it's so close. And it's nice to see that compared with some other cultures aren't so much about that. But it can go the extreme where it's like, dude, this guy just killed like, you know, a dozen people. And that was Karen's big argument, like at the beginning, like talking about like when I really thought about what he did and the lives that he affected, it was hard on me. It was hard.
Right.
So it's a very difficult thing that these women are in.
Which is why this is so much like Sons of Anarchy.
I gotta see that show. What channel is it on?
FX. So good.
Really?
But I'm telling you, like this whole lifestyle. Do you ever kind of? Yeah, this is.
Is that Son of Anarchy?
Yeah, it's really good. Wait, but it's this whole lifestyle that it sounds so weird. But are you ever like kind of envious? Like it's so badass,
It's
and edgy
so
and
badass.
cool, and I'm like, I want to be badass.
So, you know,
I want to be a mob wife.
I don't think I'd want to be an actual mob wife, but I think it's like really badass. And I think I'd like a mob wife as like a really good friend, but I wouldn't want to be an actual mob wife, because these women.
What about a mob daughter?
No.
Mob sister?
No, I don't want to be any part of the
aunt.
family.
Mob cousin.
No, I don't want to be. I might be a mob babysitter. I don't know. I can't like. It's just like there's so much emotion behind all of this. Like it's fun to see them all in their fur coats walking down, you know, Jersey Shore, looking all hot and stuff. But the reality is
Staten Island.
Yeah, Staten Island, wherever that.
We're not on Jersey Shore
No,
anymore.
okay. Well, yeah. Well,
Close enough.
close enough. It could have been. No.
No, I know, and it's fun to watch.
It's
but
fun
like
to watch
being caught up in
but
that.
being in that, I mean,
Yeah.
Renee's got a drug problem. I mean, these people have major issues, and it's like someone like Big Ange, I think, has been through so much in her life, and it's a really nice thing to see that she's like has such an amazing attitude about it. But I don't think that's the norm, and I think that's why we love Big Ange, because of everything that she's dealt with in her life. She can still like show up with like a smile on her face.
Completely agree, and all these women have dealt with a lot, and I would like to be their friend, and they all seem, for what they've been through, somewhat level-headed, except for Love. Love is fucking insane. I like
that about her. Though.
It's not that I don't like her.
I want her
I'm
as
so
my
scared
friend.
of her.
No, I want her as my friend.
I don't really usually get afraid of people. Love is so scary to me because she's not kidding.
Yeah.
No. The whole thing with the butter knife or whatever that was, like, dude, she stabs people and just is like, so I stabbed you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't kill you.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my God. And all these other women are like, Love, you're kind of batshit crazy. And Love's like, uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, you just got to step back for a minute. If you're going to be in this lifestyle, you have to be able to calm yourself down, because otherwise you'll just kill everybody.
It's hard to do, though. I can barely calm myself down.
So if I raise a butter knife, you're going to stab me?
I don't know if I'll stab you, but I'd be like, butter knife, like, no.
Excuse me?
Man, you are so not calm right now. Oh my God.
I'd be like, butter knife? No.
I've got the Southern California thing too going on, like born and raised here. So in my own world, I would not be able to calm down from that. Like I wouldn't be able to, like, a normal day-to-day wake up and be like, oh, like, you know, let me see, what am I going to use today to like shoot the guy down the street? Like, it's just, I couldn't be in that lifestyle.
That's what I'm saying. Like, to a certain extent, you know, if somebody threw a punch at me, I'd throw a punch back. If somebody threw a punch at my friend, I would throw a punch back. But I'm not going to stab somebody.
No, okay, no, see, that's different than what you're asking. So I would never stab, so I wouldn't, well, obviously, but like, I wouldn't react in that way, but that would affect me a lot.
What would affect you?
Like just being attacked or being around that environment. I guess that's more what I meant. Because
like you'd go cray.
I would go cray because I wouldn't be the kind of person to fight back. That's not my personality, and that's not. I couldn't actually. I'd probably run the other direction and like hail a cab and probably leave Staten Island for good. But I couldn't be. That environment would affect me a lot of ways. The fighting,
these women have to be so thick-skinned.
That's my point. They have to like absorb that and move on with it.
All I'm saying is that Love scares the shit out of me. Yeah. Like, and you know, some of these other women you watch and they say, oh, you talk to me, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. And you wonder, you're like, maybe they're talking crap or maybe they're serious. You don't know. Love, there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
She's gonna poison you, she's gonna kill you.
Oh no, she's hardcore.
Scary as hell.
You're talking about badass. Love is badass.
Love is badass.
She is badass. So, from one badass to another. Yeah. But we haven't actually talked about her at all yet, is Carla and the situation going on between her and Joe.
Okay, first of all, they're trying to tie Carla into the other women so bad that they have Carla and Big Ange go shopping for light bulbs.
I know.
Like, do you think I'm dumb?
Yeah.
What the hell is that? It's so weird. But anyway, a lot of people are on the fence with Carla right now. So what Carla's storyline consists of is Carla going to meet with Raquel, who is the new girlfriend of Joe.
Yes, and I want to backtrack to a little bit to what, like you said, you kind of mentioned earlier, to what Big Ange, basically her piece of advice was like, don't give Joe anything.
That's what I'm saying. Big Ange is weird with her advice this
And that
week.
advice, I totally agree, though. Like, don't give him anything.
You think she should take full custody of the kids?
Yes, the dude was in jail.
Okay, but here's what I didn't like.
Him.
No, this is what I didn't like. She says you should take full custody of the kids because you don't let him treat you like that. You don't let him do that to you. Never once did she say, I want to take full custody of the kids for the kids.
Yeah.
She was like, for me, I need to do this. You make decisions about your kids for your kids, not for you, not because you have, if he's a good father and a shitty husband, that's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they usually, a lot of times they go hand in hand.
Yeah, sometimes, but sometimes they don't. I'm not saying he is a good father.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, if Big Ange is going to give her advice, Big Ange is like, take him for all he's worth. He cheated on you. What an asshole husband. You know what? You take the house and you take the kids. How about what the kids need are to be with their mother, and they need you to be able to control the situation because their father's a loose cannon, and you need to have all, and if they want to see their father, you should allow them to do so if he's in the right state of mind. But you can't just say, I want the kids because my pride's hurt. You know?
Yeah, but that logical thinking wouldn't make for good television.
True that, baby. True that.
So, I mean, Big Ann, I agree with what she's saying. I also agree with the motivations are a little interesting because it is all about the kids.
It should be, but it's not.
It should be. And I think for Carla, it really is. I think she's looking at it from a perspective about the children. I think that's why she wants to give Joe something, because in some way she wants to try and make nice, not be like have, the two of them not agree and not have a good relationship.
Joe is saying it seems like she's trying to pick a fight. I thought the exact opposite.
I did too.
I thought the exact opposite. And then I wrote this down because I was so pissed off. Raquel goes.
She's a little snot.
Raquel says, you should be thankful to have someone like
I wrote
me.
That down
you should
too.
be thankful to have somebody like me around your kids.
I wrote that down
If somebody said that to me, I would be like, fuck you.
What a bitch.
What a bitch. Like,
well, she said that to the camera, so she didn't say it to her.
Yeah, because Carla would have killed her.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't say, you should be thankful to have someone like me around your children. Those are her children. They're not her silverware that you're washing. Like, it's ridiculous. And Raquel the whole time, first of all, I thought Carla looked gorgeous at lunch.
Yeah, she's looking good.
And Raquel, not as much so, but she is still a pretty girl. Mm-hmm. And Joe just seems like a douche.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, no, honestly, I just trying to pick a fight.
And Joe's trying to sit
so level-headed.
there. And Joe's like sitting there kind of like, I got these two women here, like kind of fighting.
He's like, pay for coffee.
Yeah, I was like, dude, ew.
I was pissed at him.
Yeah, I wasn't happy with the whole situation. I did feel like Carla was defensive. Like, she was on edge. She was like kind of on
rightfully
her guard.
So.
Yeah, and I think she had every right to be. Because this is her kids, and in some ways, like what Big Ange was saying at the beginning is like, well, if you're not going to give Joe a shot, this is what happens. You have to deal with a little, cha-cha hanging around your kids, and that's what happens, and that's kind of what Big Ange was saying, like. See, this is what you now have to deal with as a guy wanting to get a divorce like yesterday and having this stranger amongst your kids. And like even Carla said, like, I don't want you bringing hoes to your house.
Yeah.
And like Raquel took it personally, but it wasn't directed like to Raquel.
She was saying,
it was just saying in general, I don't want you bringing hoes to your house.
It was almost a compliment to Raquel because she was like, I just wanted to make sure you weren't bringing hoes to your house, like as in she isn't. And then later on, Carla, the storyline gets tied in with her because Drita stands up for her to Karen and Love. Mm-hmm. And that was weird to me too because I don't know, I just feel like they just talked about no more he said, she said, and once again it's all you were talking smack, no, she was talking smack, and you're sticking up for this and da-da-da. Like, what they need is they all need to sit down and be like, here's what's up, here's my deck of cards.
They need to sit down.
They need to sit down.
Yeah, but you know what happens when they do a sit down? Love brings out a knife and like,
I know, because she's scary.
Yeah, she's scary.
Discussion on this topic.
Yeah.
We could manage that.
There's no calm sit down with these women.
Exactly.
But
calm
actually,
discussion that would never happen.
It makes really good TV. So I think that's it. I think we covered the episode. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
No.
I have a little bit of. Do you have any news and gossip?
I got nothing. Tell me what you got.
Nothing. All right. So there's only a few things. These women, for all the drama that they do in their lives, there's not a lot about them out there in the press. There's a nice little interview.
Because they're stabbing people and killing people and they're trying to bury the stories.
They're too busy in their own life. There was a nice article recently on the New York Post featuring Carla and her house and basically giving a little bit more detail of like her day-to-day life. It was more of a real estate side of things, so I found this kind of interesting. Basically, they talked about her home, and they said that her home is big. It's a 3,500 square foot brick colonial. With
Have we seen it?
Yeah, we've seen it, but I don't remember it being like you know. But it's 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 14-foot ceilings in the entry hall, winding staircase. There's outside, she's got a big pool. It's in a nice area. So she kind of like talked about a few just different things about just, you know, things that we don't know about her. They asked her, how crazy are the cast members? And she says, quote, I think they're all nuts and are all scorned women in so many ways. Listen, every one of us has been through a lot of tough times in our lives, but even so, that doesn't excuse their bad behavior. So those are some kind of strong words from Miss Carla in the New York Post.
Including
also,
herself.
Yeah. This is a question. Do you feel competitive about your home versus the homes of the other mob wives? I thought this was an interesting answer. No, because I own my home. Drita and I are the only ones who do. All the others rent their homes. Not that their homes aren't nice, but owning is just different. I put my heart and soul into everything I do in my home, so I'm really non-competitive. So
I thought Big Ange, the house that she lived in.
Yeah, I did. That's why I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting.
And yeah, that was pretty much like the most interesting things from that article. So it was kind of neat to see inside Carla's little, home.
Especially because we're not seeing much of her with these women.
No, we're not.
But I think that's going to change
And
soon.
so there's another piece of news for Big Ange.
Give it to me.
So basically, Big Ange is now a supermodel alongside Victoria's Secret, Alessandra Ambrosio. So she did a big photo shoot with Alessandra Ambrosio.
Do they wear the same size?
No. I think Big Ange.
That was mean. I love you, Big Ange.
Her cup size is slightly larger. But so Big Ange was with Alessandra Ambrosio and a Russian model named Irina Shayk in a new bikini photo shoot. And it was a photo shoot by Bruce Weber for Carney Roadfield's biannual CR fashion book. So it was really fun. They have photos at like a Miami house party.
Did you see the pictures?
Yeah, I see the pictures here. Too bad we can't put them up.
Look it up when you're done.
But yeah, so there's some I'll show it to you. There's some really, you guys should Google it. It's actually really fun photos because Big Ange is in this great old fashioned bikini, and the other girls are in the old fashioned bikini, but theirs are black. So Big Ange's is red and the other two's are black, and kind of retro style. And they've got just fun little a Miami kind of party back in the 60s kind of look. So yeah, it was a really fun photo shoot, and she just is adding, I guess, model to her resume.
Wow.
So,
extensive resume now at this point.
Yeah, she's in Broadway, like we said last week. She has her own reality show, Big Ange.
I really actually am happy to hear that because, these reality shows, they come and then they're gone. And then you either make something of the platform you've made for yourself or you don't. And it's important to try to build yourself up while you're filming.
It is. And I think Big Ange is such a fantastic personality. She deserves to be in the spotlight.
Yep, and she owned that salon, even though...
The bar.
And the bar.
Oh, you found it. Yay! There it is. Got it.
Okay.
Amazing.
Don't hate me right now, but she looks great.
She looks great. Yeah.
I mean,
I love it.
It's kind of goofy, but...
I mean, it's hard to look good next to those two, but she's definitely working it.
Jenna has a different opinion, clearly.
No, she's a beautiful woman.
No, I'm just saying, I just love her so much in her personality.
I do too. That's why I just love her, that I think she always looks amazing and fantastic. So I love Big Ange. I think she's awesome. Who doesn't?
Yeah, so... Whatever.
Yeah. She's, and those straps just aren't doing her justice. She needs to hold her top up.
No, honestly, I'm saying,
I think they're going to fall.
If she didn't have such large boobs, I think she would look a lot skinnier.
She's actually, she's got a great body and a great figure.
What I'm saying.
But her boobs are so big.
Her arms are pretty small.
Yeah, they are.
Whatever, but her boobs are so big, and that's what happens to us big titty women. It's you look pregnant a lot.
Yeah, Roxy, I
happens.
wouldn't put you in that.
My boobs aren't as big as hers.
No, I'm not.
Shit.
Maybe one.
It's like my
One?
head.
Maybe one. But
Only one of them is?
No, she means
No, I meant
one of hers
maybe.
as big as mine.
Yeah.
One of my boobs is
Yeah,
that big, and
yeah,
the other.
yeah.
A little bit uneven.
Yeah. So, all right.
That was a joke. I have very even breasts.
They're beautiful.
Are
Thanks,
they
baby.
beautiful?
She's my roommate. She
Can the
knows.
roommate attest to the beauty of
Yes.
Roxy's breasts and the symmetricalness of it?
Symmetry?
Symmetry, that's it. I'm like, what's the
The
word?
symmetricalness of my
The
breasts.
symmetricalness.
They're
We should just
very
do a whole show
curvy
on them.
for their
One
size.
time
Should
I'll
we?
just
Do you
no.
want that? Okay.
I'm gonna get a lot of Twitter messages tonight.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to predictions.
Okay.
And now,
I have to put a disclaimer that I don't know the predictions because my TiVo cut off before it was able.
There was that thing about the butter knife that we started to see that I
Okay.
briefly was talking about, and then there's more of Drita standing up for Carla. There's Karen's and Storm's date, and Karen's like, "So, what's your favorite base?" And Storm's like,
What's your favorite what?
"Base."
Oh, base.
And
Oh.
Storm's like, "Home base." and, it was, and Karen's like, "Oh," and like kind of gets pissed out. It was a weird moment. And first of all, what kind of girl asks a guy that question? And second of all, what kind of girl expects a different answer? And what kind of guy answers
Well,
that?
I thought you
and just the whole
meant
nine
like
yards.
bass, like by music.
No,
Oh, that's what I.
no, I don't think so. I really don't know. And then
It could be interpreted so many different ways.
that's true. The big news of next week's episode is that Ramona decides to announce her engagement to the lady.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I know, and she's having that big wedding without him.
Which is still the weirdest thing in the world
It
to
is the
me.
weirdest thing. It's kind of awesome.
But anyway, so she decides to come clean, and a lot of the ladies have mixed opinions on the matter.
of course they do. Of course
They always
do.
have opinions.
Of course they're mixed.
So anyway, those are the only things that we saw in next week. But anything else that you think about Lee?
No, I think that they will continue not to show him. I think it's going to be kind of one of those storyline, non-storylines, just like something else for Drita to talk about.
And are we going to see Raquel next week or any more?
I hope not. Did I say that? The thing is with Raquel, she's a little bit of a snot.
Yeah.
You know, because we've gotten to know and love Carla.
We can't
right?
say anything
We
bad about her
say-
because Steve tells me that I'm not allowed to say bad things about people on these TV shows anymore.
Well, no, but
No,
here's the
you're-
thing. Carla's like, not Carla.
I get yelled
Raquel
at.
is like a whatever side person. Like Carla, we know and love Carla. So it's hard when someone like Raquel comes in because you're automatically going to be defensive of Carla.
Right.
And her situation. So, and it just doesn't help Raquel's cause when she says things like, well, they should be glad that I'm there next to the guy. And do what? Raquel might be right. Maybe Raquel's a lovely girl and she has a great relationship with the kids. But unfortunately, we're on Carla's side.
Right, absolutely. Of course, because we know her better and we love her.
We
and-
do, and you know, it's so anyway.
Well, in honor of Big Ange,
we saw your boobs.
yes, the fantastic
Flick.
performance on the
yeah.
Oscars.
Saw your boobs.
Very
Your
clever.
boobs.
That was a really good note.
Oh,
I'm not even kidding.
I can sing.
For me?
Will I sing for you? I'll sing for you one
For
day.
AFTERBUZZ?
I'll sing one day. I will sing.
Whenever we get Sassy Gabby back.
I will sing.
Oh,
It was my secret.
my
what are you going
God.
to sing, Rob?
We're gonna
What are you going to sing?
We're gonna get Sassy Gabby back, and she's gonna do the Jersey Turnpike again for us. And then,
will sing.
actually, Jenna's an amazing dancer. She could
Is she?
dance for us.
Woo!
I'll dance when you sing.
Oh my God, we'll
Oh,
do
yeah, perfect.
a AFTERBUZZ talent show.
What will I do?
I'll
Show
sing.
us your
I'll
boobs.
say Les
I can
Mis.
put a lot-
Show us your boobs.
I can put a lot of shit in my belly
saw
button.
her
Like a
boobs.
lot.
We saw her
true.
boobs.
We saw your boobs.
And they're equal in size.
I swear, that's actually true.
Is it? I don't know. The fact that you're so insistent on it makes me think it might not be true.
That's true. I better shut the hell up.
It's like,
about it.
seriously, like, did I mention my boobs being symmetrical?
Remember
No,
that time
but
that
they are.
Remember the time Kevin tried to pawn off my? He was like, if we get 100,
Oh, yeah.
if each one of us, it was 500 tweets
Yeah.
this week about
What-
it was hashtag
Roxy's boobs.
hashtag Roxy, show us your boobs. Then she'll flash you guys on AfterBuzz.
Yeah, and that didn't happen.
And
Is that allowed?
I wouldn't have actually done it. Yes, I would have.
you know
True to my
what?
word.
Anything is
No.
allowed
Yeah,
here at
it's all allowed.
AfterBuzz.
Whatever,
Yeah.
but we didn't get to 500, which was the more insulting part.
Yeah, that's kinda
Did we
rude.
get to 5?
My boobs are going away now. Hiding.
No, Roxy. Roxy has fantastic boobs. And on that
Anyway, wait, okay, I have to do a little bragging about you because you're about to ask me where we can find me. But before you ask me where we can find me, I need to know where we can find you because you have an amazing fashion line.
I do have a fashion line.
And I want to hear where I can see it, where I can look you up.
Okay, well, I do have a fashion line, and it's called Rally Babe, and you can find it online at rallybabe.com, RALLYBABE.com.
And it's really cute clothes, and they're glitzy, but they're also like you can work out and you can play, and they're awesome.
Yes, they're inspired by the world of dance and fitness, but they're for every day. So they've got the bling of the dance world, and they've got the flow of an everyday
super
streetwear.
cute. We should make something for the show that we can all wear.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll work on it.
Yeah, we'll work on it for sure.
So anyway, and on Twitter, where can we find you?
You can find me at Erika Vieira LA. And where can we find you and your fantastic symmetrical boobs, Roxy?
At Roxy Striar. You can find me, my symmetrical boobs. I think you'll have to wait a couple of years. Maybe I'll get in the porn industry. Wah, wah. Struggling artist.
That would be sad. That would be really sad. That would be really sad. Don't say that.
And you're not going to be here next week, but
I'm not going to be here next week, but Roxy will be here, joined with Sassy Gabby. And then in 2 weeks, we're going to have a full house.
Ready and back in action, baby.
Woohoo!
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later, bitches! Woohoo!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.